And I can almost guarantee you that it's a record low. Blessings, Hen. Really good to see you. I wasn't even planning on doing the news. I'm been just withdrawn. Have a lot of questions, doing a lot of praying. Um, uh, it's pretty bleak out there. You know what I mean? Depends on how you look at it, I guess. I'm just a little bit tired. I would appreciate prayers. Don't normally ask for them, but I have. It's just nothing but iniquity, lawlessness, selfless selfishness, petty, um, non-caring, hateful. That's what I'm surrounded by. That's what we're all surrounded by, and it's only getting worse. And I apologize for you know mentioning these things right off. I don't want to start things off on a gloomy note. Hey, brother Andrew, good to see you, brother. Haven't seen you in a little bit. We've all been wondering what's been going on. You can talk to me later. I'll try and get over to Shepherd's after the news. I'm not going to be on too long. Everything is basically the same but worse, right? Um, and so y'all must know what I'm talking about. I mean, Andrew, you you basically we we do a lot of the same walks, but at different times, and got a lot to talk to each other about. I mean, I know brothers and sisters they're on different walks, um, and that's why we have testimonies. We need to give testimony so that we can. It's just interesting, very interesting to see what other people have gone through, and sometimes it may help to know where somebody has been and where they are at that moment. And I can guarantee you, in a walk, in their testimony, you will. Who does that? Big Daddy, um, my story. This is my story. It's an awesome song, and yeah. So it's good to know that there is something else out there that we all have built up during our walks in our private personal relationships with Jesus, the Holy Spirit teaching us things that we need to know when He wants us to know them. Not when we want to, because that's not always answered. But it is perfect. It works out perfectly. Though we may be, a little impatient at times and get a little irritated because things aren't going as fast or as little as we want them, but it all works out perfectly. The Lord, He has His plan from the beginning to the end, and it's just all beautiful. It just works out the way it works out, and it always worked out for the better. I have seen a lot of growth, brothers and sisters, and that's what happens. We just gain faith. He is the finisher, He is the beginning of our faith and the finisher of it. He gives us the faith. He is the hope, and we go on. We go on. We tell everyone else what we've learned, and that's our job, our commission, and we go through trials and tribulations in between, right? Good, some terrible, but in all of them, we are blessed. I have not come through any trial, whether it be easy or very hard, where I have not reaped benefits and blessings. That is the result of continuing on and you keep standing. So, with that, we can get into some of this terrible news that's been going on. It's, again, weather related, most of it. I wanted to come on just to talk about the Ebola outbreak that has been popping in and out of the news. I watched a show the other day, 4 hours of this National Geographic show called Hot Zone. Okay? I didn't know it was on. I was just flipping through the channel because I was bored and I was doing stuff that I wasn't supposed to do, watching TV instead of reading the Bible. But he takes the things that we do and he turns them into good, because nothing that he teaches us will return void. I mean, nothing. So we took those 4 hours of this hot zone talking about Ebola, actual events that happened, a little dramatized for TV, of course. And all I can say is, if you find it, watch it. The links that I'm going to give you, Florida Maquis, that's what I call him. He came out today. It was funny because I was watching those things last night and today. I wasn't going to watch any videos. I was just going to play some music and go to work and just, get lost in my thoughts like I usually do. But I decided to play Florida Maquis video, and it just happened to be about the Ebola and about the hot zones there and what's going on and the fighting and, these doctors who are coming back with Ebola on airlines into America. We got one doctor that's in Nebraska right now, one who returned earlier in Texas. People, this Ebola, Zaire, or they're calling it something else now. What are they calling it? The Czar, the new Ebola Czar. On the show, they call it the Ebola Zaire, or Zaire, Zaire, something like that. And it kills 90%. It's a 90% mortality rate. And, we keep mentioning that, Africa is the petri dish of the world. If the military or world elites want to test out some kind of horrendous pestilence, some kind of virus, they will test it out in Africa. And so anyways, I'm going to leave you some clips there, but let's go through the news, the weather really quickly, hopefully. And because it just continues to go on here in the United States and elsewhere. Records, again, you would not think that they could be broken so often, but they continue to break. So this one's from the Big Wobble. When will it end? Record snow, record rain, record flooding, record tornado season, and record heat. Extreme weather continues to batter the U.S. Yeah, and I hear that Ohio is under a state of emergency. And there are a lot of places that are just, decimated. So, pick up somewhere else in here. So, yeah, and what's crazy about all this, like I said in the beginning, 63 degrees here in southern New England. I have never, ever, well, maybe not ever, but I don't remember a May, and I'm going to be 60 in 2 weeks. And I do not remember a May where there wasn't at least a few days of a heat wave, some kind of heat wave in May. We normally, for the past 6 years, jump from, cold, rainy weather to hot, steamy, stuff. It's just not normal. Nothing is normal. And they're changing the jet streams. That's what somebody else was saying today. Never Lose Truth, I believe her. Her name has put out a video like she normally does. Quite a few of them today, but that one. Yeah, how else can you explain, going from 85 degrees one day to 63 degrees the other day, the next day. It's not just here. I mean, I talked to World Watchmen over there in Northern California. It's happening there too. It just, you know, bouts of multiple days of cold. I mean, we were talking beginning of May where we had 48 degrees at night, and I think we even dropped to 38 degrees one night. That's not normal at all. So they're playing with the jet stream. It's whatever. I mean, whoever's doing it, for whatever reason, it's being affected. It's changing our weather completely. And yes, it could be because that we are tilted more certain way, and that our polar, magnetic north anyway has, skilled over there to Siberia, Russia, instead of where it's supposed to be. Yes, and we don't know what's affecting that, but we can only assume and make assumptions and speculation that these things that are supposed to happen in Revelation may be part of, the influence that's going on, besides mankind's influence, which should be, negligible. I mean, how much can man, this puny little species on a planet? First of all, I don't understand what everyone's talking about, this, population boom. I mean, there may be a population boom, but not enough room on the planet for them? No way. Can't happen. Someone told me one time that with all the people who have ever lived on this planet, dead, and or alive now, if they were all living right now, there would still be plenty of room. Plenty. But in any case, somewhere in the future, okay, this earth will be made new when the Lord comes in the last day and, brings his wrath. Yeah, it's snowing in California. I mean, everyone's still looking at the Oroville Dam, Andrew. North of that, what is it, the Mount Shasta or something like that in Northern California? More snow and rain up there, and there's all kinds of weird things that are supposedly going on. And one of them is that the rivers are supposedly going backwards, according to Mike Morales. I have not seen that video yet, but that's what I hear. And that, I don't know how you turn a river backwards into the lakes, okay, and unfill. And in any case, a lot of people talking about Oroville and saying that it's imminent that this dam will break. I mean, there's all kinds of scenarios that we could talk about, that may be viable. But at this point, it's still all speculation and assumption because nothing has happened. But we can at least warn the people below the dams on the West Coast, period. There's more than one dam. It's not just Oroville. There's a few dams that are in trouble. So are our nuclear plants. So are our infrastructure, period, in this country. It's all falling apart. And they're not really doing anything about it. They're just putting Band-Aids on these infrastructure things because I think they all know basically the same that we know, but they're not going to tell anybody. But we will, because the end is coming soon. The signs are here. The time and the seasons, it makes sense. And that's a good thing for us. Everything, will be renewed. Just hope that somewhere along the way that we're able to find those lost few. And I don't think there's too many left. That's one of the things that have been weighed, on my heart a lot lately, is that there may not be anybody left. Even the ones that are sitting on the fence, they're not going to move. They're in this position where they're just going about doing what they normally do like robots, and that's the safest place that they can be right now. It's not the safest place, but that's how they see it. But in any case, that, yeah, in any case, yeah, we feel that soon. I mean, you're talking about multiple tornadoes in Ohio. Okay, you. I'm just going to read down this list here. Oh, you've heard about all the tornadoes, all the things that have been going on, and the flooding. I mean, it's still going on. According to Strange Sounds, after 13 straight days of devastating tornadoes, 39 million people are still under severe weather threat in the U.S. Parts of Kansas and Pennsylvania are recovering from another terrifying evening of tornadoes. And this one, end time headlines, 11 straight days of tornadoes. U.S. approaching uncharted territory. U.S. looks like a war zone after 500 tornadoes in 30 days, 1 month. I've heard of a lot of tornadoes, in Tornado, what do they call it, Valley, Tornado Valley. That stretched there up, where it's underwater right now. Yeah. 30 days, America has been hit with 500 tornadoes, with Tuesday breaking a 40-year record by marking the 12th day in a row. And we've already said it's 13th today, Wednesday. So 55 twisters are estimated to have touched down on Monday across 8 states, stretching eastward from Idaho to Colorado. Kansas City was badly hit by a large and dangerous tornado on Tuesday. And yeah, they're saying F3 tornadoes. Those are the ones that hit in Ohio. F3s. Those things. I would not want to see one coming my way. They can just, well, you see the damage. They can blow up a house between the pressure. They tell you, I don't know if it's true or not, but they tell you that, if you have a tornado coming down your street, heading for your house, to open your windows. I don't know if that's true or not. Open the windows to take out, to relieve the pressure. Because if that tornado ends up hitting or getting close to your house with the windows closed, the pressure behind that just obliterate the house, blow it up like a bomb. In either case, it's not going to fare well, but yeah, so in the meantime, state of emergency was declared in multiple Ohio counties. This one from IWB. It's just devastation everywhere, man. I mean, we have not taken a breath when these things first started. I mean, even before the 13 days. And now, with this, I'm talking about all over the world, man, our food supplies are being attacked. It's being, drowned. And there's so much, they're talking a lot about contamination of the waters, period, of the flooding, not just the flooding, but we're talking about all these rivers that are overflowing right now. They're talking about antibiotics and other things that are, just being poured out all over the land. Going to be an utter ruin. And this is not the end. This is not the end. I have a bad feeling that this is nothing. Record-breaking temperatures hit Hodakyo. 5 killed and nearly 600 hospitalized in Japan. There in Pakistan and one other place. I mean, temperatures, what was it? 122 degrees was recorded. I saw in another article. We might get to that. So, unseasonably hot conditions affected wide areas of Japan, leading to deaths of 5 people. At least 575 admitted to hospitals. 103 degrees, May 26th, breaking previous record of 98.6. 100 degrees. Let's see. July 12th. I'm talking, that was the records that were broken. And heavy rain, floods, landslides affect 200,000 people, leave 7 dead, 2 missing in southern China. So, of course, we're not the only ones that are going through this stuff. Everyone is being flooded out. We've talked about this. I do feel that it's the Lord is making a point, probably being helped by man who's only, and, of course, the principality, power that runs this world now and just wants to kill, steal, and destroy. So he's making his point. He has a very short time. He knows it. So he's going to kill as many as he can. He does not like us. Not like humans. No, he don't. All right, so that's basically it for the weather. Because I could go on. I could literally just keep going on about all these. I don't know. Aren't you tired of hearing the weather? If you're not, we could have a whole hour of just the weather. Just the flooding, the records that are broken. We're not even going to get into, the volcanoes that are going off now and the earthquakes. What was it, 8.0 that we had a couple days ago? Peru, I think it was. They always get hit big time over there. Big ones over there. But what I really wanted to talk about was this. And I'm not going to go through the whole thing. It would just take too much time. I'm going to leave the links for him. I'm going to play some of it. I don't know how much yet. Florida Maquis. You will see the link. I will include it when I edit the video and put it out there. And, in any case, I don't even really know how to start with this Ebola thing. You know what's another good website that I had forgotten about? Florida Maquis had brought it up today. It's something called globalincidentmap.com. Globalincidentmap.com. And basically, we used to watch it before. Probably a year ago, we used to refer to it a lot. It will tell you and it has different categories, and you could pay for a subscription or get a free subscription. It's just that you'll get the news if for the free one a little bit later than the paid one. Paid subscription is, I don't know, what did he say, within hours of the incident, whereas the other one might be anywhere from a day or two. But it has, it talks about everything. It talks about all the typhoid that is in Los Angeles now. It talks about the Ebola and other things that are going on, the Ebola Zaire. And it talks about, the attacks on the well clinics over there, the doctors. I think there's been a couple of them killed already. They think that, I don't know, there's a war going on. There's always a war going on over there somewhere. But so they think that these wellness clinics that are treating these Ebola victims, and I believe that it is up to about 1,200 people right now that have died so far from that Ebola crisis. And basically, what these links will tell you is the numbers. It goes by the numbers, and it'll just give you some data. Let's just try this for a second.
stating that there was going to be a video dropped by another channel. That video did drop late last night. If you haven't watched it, please go do. It's Jennifer Hammonds, Veterans for Truth.
Can you guys hear that?
She is a licensed RN, served aboard 2 Navy ships, knows what she's talking about regarding these types of things. She's had very specific training regarding these kinds of things.
Can you guys hear this video?
There was the story of the USS Fort McHenry that was quarantined at sea for 5 months because of what they described as mumps. Now, I didn't even think about that. When I saw that article, I kind of just glanced over it. Everybody gets an MMR. Measles, mumps, rubella when you go through in process. The likelihood of that is staggeringly low that it was actually mumps. But this chart here in front of you should tell you the story. The lower part is the weeks, and the left-hand side is the amount of cases. So from just a little over 20 cases week 1, now we're at 110 cases week 21. It is going up and up and up and up. And then we have stories like this. We have a doctor in Nebraska now who was exposed. But of course, he's tested quote unquote clean, just like the last doctor did who had it living in his eyeball and brought it back to Texas. They're not taking enough precautions. And eventually they're going to say, oh, gosh, well, our test said this, that, and the other. I'm telling you, this is going to be ugly. And even Dr. Drew came out and he made this kind of cryptic statement about Los Angeles this summer. And he relates it to the amount of homelessness and the detritus that's everywhere. I wonder if they know something and they're trying to get ahead of it, and they're just trying to give some other explanation so people don't get into a panic.
Yeah, and he talks about these people are allowed to come over here from Africa in the middle of this Ebola outbreak and able to come back home. Fly through on the airlines, in the traffic, terminals, wherever they go, affected with Ebola. How crazy is that stuff? I mean, they're talking about shutting down the airlines for the measles outbreak, which is not lethal, from what I hear. I mean, it may be lethal to some people, but I mean, this Ebola thing, like I said, it's a 90% death rate with that if you're infected. I don't know. This is the crazy stuff that they're trying to, I mean, we know about that Ebola scare, what was it, last year when Bill Gates supposedly had 3 experimental doses, and they flew, 2 of these doctors back into the United States to get these supposed, Ebola experimental doses, and they apparently worked. I don't know. So I didn't really hear a whole lot. So I don't have clear updates about that, whether those doctors survived or not. I mean, but if they did survive, I mean, supposedly there was an 1,100 people. Let me see. 110,000 people. 110,000 were given an experimental dosage, or vaccine, or whatever it was. And I do not have the results of that either. All I know is that they were given that experimental dosage. So they're really, they're testing a lot of things on humans, okay, as the guinea pigs over there in Africa. They've been doing it for a long time. The only problem is that they're letting these people come back to America. I mean, you heard we talked about a headline that was related to the southern border. I think there was 2 or 3 gentlemen that were stopped at the border, and they had the Ebola virus. This is one of the problems that we face with this wide open border. I mean, we've already got an epidemic of the measles here now because of it. I mean, we've got other things too because of it. This is what they brought back into the country. A couple of these things, we eradicated. We, through our medicine and vaccines, and it wasn't here. In any case, And, during all this fighting over there in the Congo in Africa, there have also been bodies, affected with the Ebola that were set up for burial that were stolen. And I just wanted to bring this all out to your attention because, they're probably, obviously, looks like they're trying to start some type of outbreak here as well. And we need to understand what the symptoms are. It's just like every other symptom or flu. I guess he talks about it somewhere. Sniffles, body aches, fever. In any case, and it can be. I guess it can be treated if you catch it within the incubation stage.
That maybe it's already here, maybe it's already in the homeless populations around this country, and that when people start to die,
Yeah,
they're going to
amen,
blame it on
Andrew.
all sorts of other things like they are now, like measles or mumps or the flu or something else. Uganda is a new country now in Africa that is starting with a new vaccine.
Yeah, you're right, Andrew. Yep. That's why I like to refer to Psalms 91 quite a lot. I mean, it does a lot for me. When it talks about 10,000 falling at your right hand, 1,000 at your left, I mean, that you will see, the wicked fall, and you will be there to see it, but nothing will come to you or I. That's what's great about his promises. The blood of Jesus. Amen.
One vaccine that they've already admitted isn't working. So now they're trying another one. This one is from the Janssen Ebola vaccine. It's different than the Merck one. This article here talks about how they need to readjust their strategy. A panel of World Health Organization experts say strategies must be strengthened to combat the worsening Ebola epidemic in the eastern.
Yeah, so I mean, basically, that's what these videos are about. Gives you more data. I mean, this is what I got from here. The crew of the. Do you remember that? There was a crew. Oh, what was it? A Navy ship. I'm trying to get the name of it right now. Oh, the USS Fort McHenry. It just come off quarantine, and they were quarantined for 5 months, supposedly with the mumps. But in any case, here's that article right here. The crew of this Navy warship has gone months without a port call thanks to a viral mumps outbreak. A lot of people do not believe that's what it was. But in any case, so this U.S. military personnel aboard USS Fort McHenry, a Whidbey Island class dock landing ship carrying Marines with the 22nd Marine Expeditionary Unit, began falling ill and were diagnosed with viral parotitis shortly after the ship departed Mayport Naval Station in Florida in mid-December. Later, the Navy later clarified the affected personnel appeared to be suffering from a probable case of the mumps. By early April, the number of affected service members had risen to 28, roughly 4% of the 703 people on board. Outbreaks of influenza and other common illnesses occur every year aboard Navy vessels, but this situation was a bit different as U.S. troops are vaccinated against the mumps. See, that what was pretty weird about it. They were vaccinated already with the mumps, so they shouldn't have been, affected by the mumps, right? I mean, that's what we take the vaccines for, right? I don't believe that for 1 minute, for 1 second. You get the vaccines for what other stuff they put in there, okay? And we can go on and on and on and talk about what they may or may not put in there. Some of it they do tell you. Maybe we'll go get that ingredients list as well as the ingredient list that they put into chemtrails and How about the chemicals in your tap water? We could put all those lists together and the chemicals they put in your prepared food and so on and so forth. How about hand creams and other cosmetics like that? I don't want to tell you what kind of stuff they're putting in everything. Why? Why? Here's another article. Officials fighting U.S. measles outbreaks threatens to use rare air travel ban. Yeah, they want to use an air travel ban for, keep the mumps outbreak down. But what about the Ebola? You won't use this ban for the Ebola virus, which kills 90%? Are you serious? This is just how off the thinking this elite class. Anyways, everything's upside down. Let's just play this little article video here, and I don't know, we can end this after this guy talks and talk about something else if you want. Snippet of DNA they put in the vaccine. Yeah, that's a whole other story, Andrew, about the mutating and changing and manipulating the DNA. Yeah, and there are other things to talk about the DNA. I guess with this CRISPR and all this other stuff that goes on with the manipulation of the DNA and chromosome, all that junk that I know nothing about. One thing that I got out of that, and it has nothing to do with anything else, is that this DNA strand, just a little section that they were talking about. Everything else was basically blank. It's kind of like it's kind of like getting a computer that has basic, your basic root system, file system. What do you call it? Like Microsoft or operating system. There you go. It has this basic operating system and other files that comes with it, so your memory is like, say, 20 gigabytes, and then you probably got 1 gigabyte that has all this information, basic stuff to keep you going and keep the machine going, but it has 19 gigabytes left that you can put anything you want on that computer. Let's call it DNA. And that's what they found. They found that there is so much room on this DNA strand that you can live multiples of lifespans of lives and still have so much more room to put on this DNA strand, which means that somewhere along the line, I don't know, it's just, obviously like everything else, speculation and just thinking about things. Why is it all empty? We only use certain percent of our brains, right? You got to wonder, well, why is that? Why do we only use certain percent of our brains? Why do we have all this empty space on the DNA strand? It just boggles my mind, the thoughts that I don't know. I don't even know where to go from here about it. We certainly don't have reincarnation, so we can just rule out that stuff. Some people would say that, you got plenty of reincarnation sequences there, so you could be reborn again and again and again and again and never really fill up that DNA. So what's all the room for? That's just a simple question, something that, I don't know, bring to the Lord. I've gotten, kind of some thoughts, but they're pretty far out there. So I'm not going to, start something that I probably shouldn't. Anyways, plenty of room to put information. All right. Where to go? Let's listen to this guy.
Real quick.
Well, there's one thing that is unique about this Ebola outbreak. It's the first Ebola outbreak to take place in a conflict zone. The epicenter of the outbreak, Butembo, is an area in the far east of the Democratic Republic of Congo, where there are at least 20 different armed groups just in that narrow area, and probably 60 in the wider province. And this is something which poses special challenges when you're trying to build public trust, which is the foundation of an effective Ebola response. It must seem incredible to your viewers that health centers are being burned down. But 10 months into the outbreak, that is the case because the Ebola treatment centers are seen as agents of central government against which the local people have a high degree of animus. So this is why it's uniquely challenging. It's now 10 months into the outbreak, and all of my instincts and all of the facts I was able to gather on a trip there recently are that the situation is getting worse, not better.
And do you think, because everybody obviously remembers in West Africa how awful it was there, and then how terrified everybody was that it was going to spread beyond Africa into America, Europe, etc. Does this?
I don't want to listen to her anymore. She's from that fake CNN news. But anyway, it's a good point. I mean, they're killing these doctors because they think they're part of, the opposition's government. And in the meantime, just look, this thing is going to explode. It's already bad enough. But all signs are pointing to they're not doing a darn thing about it. They don't know how to do it. They don't know where the epicenter is. They don't know where ground zero is. They don't know where the thing started. But besides that, they're letting people fly in planes. And you got this infighting in the country, and it's going to continue to spread. So these other governments come in there and they kill the doctors and wipe out villages. Go watch that National Geographic hot zone. It is all based on a true story. It already happened, and that was probably the one that they're talking about the first time. But in any case, I have 2 or 3 other videos with this guy, Florida Maquis. So go to him and listen to him. They're only 14, 15-minute clips about the Ebola virus, and once he has a lot of data on it. But I don't feel like I should be. I just don't want to go on with it anymore. So it talks right here: Ebola health worker killed by villagers during attack. Okay, so how are they going to gain a foothold in this thing when the very doctors who were there to help are being killed? And then they would just let people on airlines and fly across into other countries. Why do they not just shut down travel from and to Africa? Well, maybe not to. Go there to try and help them out. That's an update on the Ebola, and it could have been, very lengthy. So with that in mind, unless y'all want to talk about something in particular, that's basically the news I got for tonight. So I'll leave it up to you. Yeah, well, it's only 15 minutes before we normally break anyway. So with that, God bless everyone. And I know all the people who are here, okay? So I know you're a friend of mine, and this stuff is not going to break you down. Hopefully you will know when to back away from it, okay? Because there has to be an unplugging, so to speak, of this stuff every now and then. It really does. Sometimes it can just pile up. But I do rely on the peace that I have, with Jesus Christ. He fills me all the time with it. And though I may say it brings me down, but it can't bring me down too much because the Lord picks me up. And I have peace in Him, and that's it. That's all I need. There's nobody going to be able to take that away from me. That and the faith that He has given me now is just such a blessing, and it's more than I could have ever expected. And so we go on, and I thank the Lord every day. I'm not going to be one of those who get all these blessings, and learn all this truth, and then just sit back and enjoy it, in your peace, that you're not going to thank the Lord continually after that. Are you kidding me? I can't even imagine being one of those people. No way. Every morning, because we do have work to do, don't we? We have people that we need to that don't have that peace yet, that need to be lifted up, and you tell your testimonies, and hopefully somewhere along the line they'll understand that they can really give it all to Jesus. I mean, I know a lot of people say that. Yes, I'm going to give it all to Jesus. I'm going to give it all. They don't really. And there's a lot of times where I forget to give it all. And you got to learn to do it, daily. It's a process, and it gets better. It does get better. But yeah, I mean, I live in that peace because I give it all to Him. Because I know that anytime I have intervention in something, it's just going to go bad. Yeah. So every morning, I try. Lord, okay, here's another day. Thank you for it. I hope that I will get what you're trying to tell me today, and show me where to go. Show me how to do it. About it. So with that, I hope you all have that peace. If not, it is available. Just need to go get it. Give it all to Him. So, take care of each other. Lift each other up. Watch out for your family. Know where they are at all times. Things are so volatile. There's still, many rumors of war, things that are still going on. Don't forget, the big war machine, they have to go off soon. There has to be something done soon. So you got to watch all these things together. Some try to distract. And why are they distracting you? Well, because they're doing something else over here. So just make sure that if you ever get cut off, I mean, you can't be cut off from Lord. There's no way you can get cut off from Him, and I guess that's what matters the most. But then after that, make sure you know where your family is. Make sure you have numbers to call. People, make sure you know where they are. Get in touch with them. Whatever. God bless everyone. And peace out.